Did you know Maradona was best friends with Mike Tyson? Or that he once shot 4 news reporters? Or even that he visited Pablo Escobar in prison? These are 20 things you didn't know about Maradona. And for number 20, I bet you didn't know Maradona once fought a boxing legend.
En esta ocasión, el emblemático futbolista va a descargar su energía de una forma bien distinta. Quería cumplir un sueño. Subirse a un ring.
You would think this expedition fight was after his career as a player, right? But in 1994, my man was still playing for Boca Juniors. But hey, what are they gonna say? This is Maradona we're talking about. At least he was still wearing Boca-colored shorts to represent his team. But he probably had no idea that Diego was once hospitalized against his own will. Diego had been struggling with his diet his entire life. He went from skinny to big, and from big to skinny many times. But one day in 2007, it almost ended his life. The former Barcelona and Napoli star couldn't stop eating burgers, steak, and pizza. On top of that, he took many shots and smoked one cigar after the other, until he collapsed. Hours went by and doctors searched his entire body, that eventually said it had to do with stress and bad eating habits. So he was then released a few days later. But that's not the only time Diego couldn't control himself. The superstar battled with his addiction even during his playing career, and was first banned from Napoli for 15 months after failed drug tests in 1991.
Sia per il giocatore del Napoli Maradona si ipotizzano I reati di detenzione e cessione di stupefacenti.
È emerso che vi sarebbe stata da parte del giocatore del Napoli, Diego Armando Maradona, una richiesta di prova.
Commenta questa notizia, passa su.
No, solo per i miei avvocati, vediamo.
Ciao Diego, anche oggi molto tranquillo.
Perfetto. Mai sono stato così tranquillo.
He was then charged for trafficking in possession later that year, receiving a 12-month suspension. Maradona then returned to Sevilla and Newell's Old Boys, before testing positive for 5 illegal substances during the 1994 World Cup. He was immediately disqualified and wasn't allowed to play for 1 more minute. On top of that, he also received another 15-month ban and spent several weeks at a Swiss clinic in order to try and kick his addiction. And ultimately, a third failed drug test in 1997 brought the curtain down on Maradona's unforgettable career.
Maradona era un gran jugador. Tiene calidad, tiene todo, mas no está con su formación ainda psíquica preparada para aguentar tanta responsabilidad.
But Diego quickly changed his lifestyle and even partied with the biggest criminals in Colombia's history. Yeah, my man actually visited Pablo Escobar inside prison. Escobar was jailed by Colombia for his crimes, but he was still able to negotiate a deal which allowed him to design a prison for himself. So it looked more like a hotel than a jail, as it had a bar, jacuzzi, pool tables, and even a football pitch inside. And according to Diego, it was an insane experience. Escobar invited me to play football with him in prison. We played a match and everyone had fun. Later, we partied with the most beautiful girls I had ever seen in my life. All of this in a prison. I couldn't believe it. And I can't believe what happened at the World Cup 2022 in Qatar. Even 2 years after Diego's death, he still made an appearance. Damn, what a beauty. This is the Tango D10S, a 12-seater designed as a fly museum in tribute to Diego. But Maradona wasn't always an icon. He started off as a little kid playing football in the streets of Buenos Aires. He was soon discovered and made his professional debut at the age of only 15, making him the youngest player in Argentina's Primera Division history. But that's not the only time he wrote himself into the history books. Only 1.5 years later, on February 27, 1997, the Golden Boy made his international debut against Hungary at the age of 16. He played so well in that game that he joined Argentina's youth team that eventually won the 1979 Youth World Cup in Japan. This is where he got to hold a World Cup trophy for the first time. And 3 years later, he was representing the official team at the 1982 World Cup in Spain. Diego had already made a name for himself, so other teams were trying to eliminate him, resulting in a record-breaking 23 fouls against him during the game versus Italy.
27 minuti di gioco nel corso del Maradona.
Ouch! He didn't only receive kicks to the ankle, but Argentina was also kicked out of the tournament by Italy because of their 2-1 victory that game. But that only motivated Diego to come back stronger at the next World Cup. So 4 years later, at the 1986 World Cup, he arguably scored the most iconic goal in football history.
Maradona just walked away from Huddle then. Maradona. They're appealing for offside. The ball came back off the foot of Steve Hodge. And Maradona gives Argentina the lead.
The hand of God. What a goal. Diego was unstoppable that year. Players couldn't get a hold of him, resulting in another record for suffering the most fouls during a World Cup tournament, 53 in total. But that didn't stop him from humiliating England with this incredible goal. Everyone in England hated him for that, but the people in Scotland praised him for eliminating their biggest rival. They even wrote a chant about him that they still sing to this day. Hate, love, admire, or even worship him? I'm sure you didn't know this, but there's an actual religion around Diego, Iglesia Maradoniana, or the Church of Maradona, which was founded in 1980 by 3 hardcore fans. The church now has an estimated 120,000 to 200,000 registered members from over 130 countries.
El nombre de la tota, Don Diego, y el fruto de su amor.
Muchos te dicen, ¿y por qué se la agarran con la religión? ¿Por qué se burlan de Dios? No nos burlamos, es lógica pura. Para los argentinos el fútbol es una religión, cada religión tiene su Dios. Bueno, Dios del fútbol es Diego.
They even have 10 commandments. Now, if you think that's crazy, wait until we get to the top 3. But first up, number 7. It shouldn't be a surprise to you anymore that Diego was a little crazy and could do some extreme things. But this time, he almost ended up behind bars. It was a normal day in February of 1994. Diego's career was coming to an end after multiple suspensions because of his addiction, but he was still playing for Newell's Old Boys in Buenos Aires. As he was sitting inside his country home, something snapped. He couldn't deal with the countless reporters circling around his house for one more second. So he went outside with 2 friends, crouched behind a Mercedes, and started unloading his rifle, injuring 4 people. My man actually thought he was above the law.
Ya le dije que acá no quiero a nadie. Le dije, bueno, y lo voy a seguir lastimando, porque acá no quiero que rompan los huevos a mi hija, nada más.
But honestly, nobody is. The Golden Boy was found guilty of assault with a weapon and was hit with a suspended prison sentence of 2 years and 10 months. But that wasn't the only time the Argentinian legend snapped at a journalist. For example, 2013, when he pulled over his car, got up, grabbed some stones from the side of the road, and allegedly threw them at photographers that were following him. Things got so out of hand that he even kicked one. I honestly prefer it when he kicks the ball, like he did in 2005 with Lionel Messi. Yeah, every football lover's dream became a reality when the 2 Argentinian GOATs joined forces in a charity match.
Pelota de gol para Messi, ahora sí va Lionel, está habilitado Messi, va a arrancar, está en primera por Maradona, lo va a esperar a Diego, a su amigo, a su ídolo, la descarga para Diego, gol de Diego, gol de Messi, se la va a dar Messi, se la va a dar a Messi, Maradona, llega Messi, ahora sí Messi, el gasto.
Damn. Imagine if they played together during their prime. But in a way, they did share the field, because Maradona coached the Argentinian national team during the 2010 World Cup in South Africa. You would think that this magic duo would make it far into the tournament, but unfortunately, Diego's master plan fell into pieces. Germany sent him packing in the quarterfinals after a devastating 4-0 loss. The Golden Boy immediately quit after that tournament. It was time for him to spend more time with his loved ones, especially his kids. But he soon realized that he had more than he thought. Yeah, Diego was married to Claudia Villafane from 1989 to until until 2004, with whom he had 2 daughters, Doma and Jania. But Diego slipped up in 1986 when he spent the night with Cristiana Singara, who later that year gave birth to their son, Diego Jr. And that wasn't his only illegitimate child. He also had another son, Diego Fernando, in 2013. But let's not forget about his former son-in-law, Sergio Kun Agüero, because the Man City and Barcelona superstar used to be married to his youngest daughter, Giannia. The two have 1 son together, Benjamin Agüero. And now the most shocking thing about Diego Maradona is that he subscribed to Offside. And you guys should too. All right, see you guys.